Let's see. You got this up. Give it a second for YouTube to kick in. Oh man, what am I doing right now? It's so late. But I really just want to get this out there. I've been wanting to work on this all day, and I finally found some time. Everyone can reply. Let me get this tweet sent out. This thing's already making my computer go slow. YouTube doesn't automatically unfurl in Twitter. That's interesting. Or maybe I just shared it wrong. I don't know, it was a share link that was provided to me by YouTube. So, all right, we'll see. All right, yeah. I mean, I think we're moving forward. Let's get started here. So, what I have been wanting to do. Actually, let me read just this 1 second. Got to get my layout straightened here. It's not what I wanted. And of course it messed up my scene. Sorry about this. Let's see if I can get this fixed up real quick. I think scene gets locked. That's all right. I get enough screen view here. Okay, so the idea behind Takeout is you get essentially a wrapper around Docker, and it makes it really easy to do something like Takeout enable, and then you get a list of services that you're able to start up on your system using Docker, and it's great. It works great so far. It's gotten a lot of really good feedback from the community, and it's really lit a fire under me. I want to really get this working super well. And one of the things that I feel is missing right now is kind of like a logging system. I want to see all of the commands that we are running through Takeout, so that first of all, I could learn better as a user. I can take a look at this stuff and say, oh, okay, in order to boot up this particular container with this particular port, blah, 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 this is the command that was run. But also really get a look into the internals and see what Takeout is really doing. And actually, getting this feature semi configured, it really got me happy because I got to see a lot of the commands that we were running all at once, just for something as in Takeout is simple, but if I were to do the same thing just using straight Docker commands, would actually be a lot more. Right now I have Takeout installed globally using Composer. So if I just do Takeout, I have version 1.3.1, which is our latest version up. But if I'm right now, I'm in the repository for Takeout here. So if I were to run the version of Takeout directly in here, now I get an unreleased version. So now this is how I can test out everything that's directly downloaded in the repository without me having to push up any changes and pull down dev branches and all that stuff. So that works pretty well. And if you don't know, Takeout itself is being run through Laravel 0. So that's the framework that we're using to run all of these services. So what I wanted to do was like make some sort of like log command, or log something, so that we could eventually tail out some sort of file that we have on our system. So let's see what we got going on here. We got okay, so in our shell command, this is pretty fun. So we are using Symfony's process. That's the underlying process of Laravel 0 is using Symfony's process class. But the process class itself doesn't have an API to tell you the command that was run. And we do a lot of things like passing in parameters to the process itself. Let me see if I can find where we do that. It should be under exec. So the exec is like the execute command. This is where we tell it like execute this command in the shell itself, and it gives back some information like whether or not the process itself is successful, things like that. But there's no API for getting information from the process. And so this is what I came up with. I thought it was pretty clever. So information from process is this method that I created within shell. So shell is something that we have access to modify within Laravel 0. But we pass the process into this function, and then we use reflection. And so we say reflection. So this is really cool. First of all, I have not dug into reflection this much before, and I found this to be incredibly interesting. So with reflection, you have this option to set a specific property that is normally inaccessible because it being private or protected, but you can set it accessible. So you say, okay, here's this new reflection class, pass through the process class itself. You can pass through a specific instance or the general class, but all you have to do is pass in a process class into this into the reflection class constructor. And then you can say there will be this property on that process class, and I want to call it process information. Process information is actually something specific to Symfony process. That is the protected method inside of that class. That normally I would just be able to say new process, get the process information, but I can't do this because it's protected. So here's the way to get around that process. You can say process information, the reflection class, get property, process information. And now this variable process information, I can tell it set accessible true. And then in here is where you say process information, get the value, and then you pass in the specific instance. And in this case, that specific instance is the process that we're returning from the previous exec command into this method. And then I go through a little bit deeper and say if it's an exit code that's not equal to 0, log it as an error. Otherwise, let's log it as just general information. Now, logging in Laravel 0 is a little weird. I still haven't wrapped my head around it completely, but supposedly there's a difference between just running Laravel 0 straight up and running it as a far build. So I'm going to test that out. We're going to see. I'll run a quick build and try to run some logs directly in the FAR and see if we get any issues with that. Give me 1 second here. Just making sure my stream is all running. Okay. So let me show you what this looks like. If I run, actually, if I'm going to split my screen here, and on the bottom, I'm going to do tail storage logs takeout. I actually don't think, oh yeah, I do have that file there. Good, so I still have it. So this is the bottom half of my screen it's tailing the log file. So anytime that we add new items to that log file, we'll see it pop up down here. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out this log file first, and then I'm going to tail it again. And now here, if I say, oh, I got to use the local version of Takeout. Takeout list. I should see a few commands. Here we go. A few commands coming in. So first, checks the Docker version. It does some Docker info. Now these are commands that get run, I guess, consecutively, just by running Takeout list. There's a reason we run Docker version. We want to make sure that that Docker itself is running on your system. Now we are looking at Docker info, and then we do this Docker ps-a. So Docker ps-a is the ps command. So I can do Docker ps-a, and this is going to show us all of the running containers on my system. However, we want to make it look a certain way. So if we do takeout list, oh yeah, it's not going to show anything because I don't have any takeout services enabled. But let me enable one. Takeout enable Redis or something. Just go to the defaults. And I actually don't think I have this image, so it'll download it. Okay, there we go. So now the service is enabled. So now if I do takeout list, we want it to display like this, kind of in a table format, only certain fields. We don't want to show all the fields. Make it simple. And so in order to do that, we need to run this filter command. So we've created this filter command, and it's built into Takeout. You don't have to run it every time yourself. You just say takeout list, and it essentially runs this Docker PS filter. So let me show you what it looks like if I were to run this directly. So there we go. It's the same information. The only reason it's even getting displayed differently is because we tell it to within Laravel 0 we say display it as a table, and so it's able to display as a table. But we can see the Docker command that we needed to run in order to get the data to put into the table itself. So that's kind of cool. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let's say like takeout. Oh, in fact, I enabled Redis using my my globally installed version of Takeout, so we didn't actually see anything come up in the log. But let's say if I disable Redis. Boom, look at all that. Here we go. We're doing a Docker ps-a again. We're using a filter. We are using an inspection. Okay, an inspection we use so that we can tell the user which volume was mounted in that container right before we bring down the container, so that we can say, hey, if you want to remove this container, this is how you do it. Which we give you the command right here. We might automate this a little bit better in the future, but for now, this ensures that your data is safe. It's not going to get deleted or anything. And if you want to remove it, you can remove it. And then, yeah, so it goes through, it stops the container, it removes the container. And then And then again, we do this ps-a. I wonder why it's calling that actually. It's not a huge deal, but if we do something like takeout list JSON, it should just be the same as list because there's really no difference in the command. Yeah, so there we go. Actually, let's see if there's any difference. I don't remember if there was. So we're doing list JSON. Okay, yeah, it's exactly the same. So we have the exact same command. We just configure it differently after we get the data back from Docker. All right, so now I want to try running a build on this. Let's see, I think it was PHP takeout app build. Okay, build version 1.3.2 or something. Actually, no, I don't want to. Yeah, okay, that's right. This doesn't actually send anything up. This just pops the app into production mode, runs whatever build functionality is needed, and then stores the binary in I think a /dist directory or something like that. So let's let that complete 1 second. This live streaming stuff really takes a toll on this machine. I might need to get a better one. God, this is not it's not a bad machine either, but all right. Or maybe I just configured something wrong. I don't know. Let's see if I turn on my browser. Oh, cool. It shows up there. I'm going to make sure it shows up in this other stream. Yep. Cool. There it goes. Sweet. All right, I'm just going to, while that builds, I hope it finishes building. I want to read through the logging documentation on Laravel 0. So this all I got working, right? Because I was able to get log info and log error if the result, the status code was non-zero. It says when your app is built into far standalone file, storage path, storage logs on the file system. Okay, so then we need to add this to the app service provider. So here it sets it. Okay, so it sets it on the fly. So it sets your logging channel single path, which is the path for your log file. It says, hey, is this a far file? If it is, the directory name of, I don't know what the output of this is, but then you give it some sort of log. Otherwise, just go with the regular storage path. Okay, so we can't actually. YouTube is not receiving enough video. No, great. Great.